President Bola Tinubu, among others. And notably, during the arraignment at the Federal High Court in Abuja, at least 4 miners collapsed. And this prompted widespread outrage and condemnation from civil society groups and human rights activists. Stringent criticism trailed the arraignment of the miners in court in Abuja last Friday, with the Northern Governors, the Arewa Consultative Council, the ACF, the lawyers, civil society organizations, CSOs, among other, condemning the humanizing condition of the miners. But the federal government, through the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, officially took over the matter and notified the courts of its decision to discontinue the cases in which the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja struck out treason charges preferred to them. And the Vice President definitely said the release came with the effect on compassionate ground. And so President Tinubu on Monday directed the Attorney General of the Federation to ensure the immediate release of the miners detained by the August protests. And also, he instructed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to prioritize the immediate welfare of the miners and to ensure they are with their parents or guardians regardless of their location within the country. And also, not to forget that the president also mandated an investigation into the actions of all law enforcement agents and officials involved in the miners' arrest and legal processing, promising appropriate disciplinary measures against cases of the misconduct uncovered. And so, definitely, with the trend of this situation, it has greeted with several reactions. And that is why I would want to discuss that this morning and discuss different angles and several matters arising on that. And to do justice to that this morning, as always, we'll consistently bring capable hands to discuss issues right in the studio. I have Dr. Nkom, consultant, general surgeon, MD, Prince Specialist Clinic, Ashera Abeokuta. Good morning, Dr. Nkom.
Good morning.
And I want to appreciate you for the short notification and for coming around. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for your time. And also, we have here Mr. Lukman Soliu, is the President, Rights and Freedom Advocate and Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Thank you for... It's a pleasure having you around this morning. Okay, let me start with the Dr. Nkom. What is your sincere perspective, unbiased perspective? Because I mentioned that because there have been so many reactions to this, so many sides to this coin, and I would want your reaction. What's your take? What's your assessment so far on the developments of this story?
Thank you very much, Maduka. Thank you, people from Ogun State, my brothers and sisters, and in diaspora. I'm happy to be here this morning to discuss this issue. And as you rightly said, unbiased, that is my own personal opinion. I'm not representing anybody, human rights or child rights or whatever. So it's purely my own opinion, and I think I'm entitled to it. You may not like it, but please bear with me. That is my opinion. My number one is that I was one when I saw those kids in the court, and I was wondering why children, their parents allowed them to be used, because I scanned through it. I didn't see the Showere's child there. I didn't see Adeyan Juice's child there. I didn't see Femi Falana and all those celebrities. I never saw their children there. I saw the children of the downtrodden who were rounded up, and rightly too, because they couldn't have been arrested in their mother's houses or in schools. They were going around rioting, creating mayhem. Don't forget, about 21 people died in that issue. and they were and they were charged for that offense. If they are charged with that offense, I don't know the legal issues, whether a child can be tried for treason or not, but the thing is that they committed an offense.
Right.
And or the police allege that they committed that offense. And it was the duty of the court to say, yes, you did, no evidence against you. And during the court process, 4 of them collapsed. And then they never collapsed 3 months earlier. They only collapsed in the air-conditioned room of the judge court. That to me is, I smelt a rat there. They never know, but there's no evidence that they collapsed in the confines of the prison where they were kept. But as soon as they came to the click light and then were being viewed by the television cameras, they collapsed. That is good in air condition.
So you agree to the report where the IGP was saying it was staged?
Well, I am not agreeing with what IGP. I'm saying my own opinion as a medical doctor.
Okay.
That is very strange that they collapse. Well, if that is what the IGP said, he's free to have it to say that. But to me, it was strange to me. But after that one, and then there was this uproar as usual. Even if those children were in court and they were given fried rice with chicken to eat, we will still complain. Why are they giving fried rice? Some would have said they should have been given tuwo or pounded yam. So to eat in court premises. So in neither here nor there, I'm not moved by such things. But what is frightening to me is that children or whatever, some group of people, children, were rounded up during a mayhem, and they go to court because of such opinions or political inclinations. You now tell them to go and sin no more. You tell them to go. Some of them have been given scholarships. That to me is frightening. So if we want in Ashero, the children, Ashero too, can decide to block the road, burn cars, and then they will be taken, and then they will we give them scholarship to go to Harvard. That is why I have a problem, because it's we are setting a precedent which might come back to haunt us. Should they be given scholarship? Should they? Yes, you can, but not under this circumstance. What you are trying to do is to justify. You are trying to say, yes, well, the more heinous you are, the better you are. That's what happened during the so-called, what happened in the Niger Delta when you had those militants who were destroying everything, were sent abroad and all that. So that is, we are encouraging insurrection. We are encouraging indiscipline in the society. Next time there is that type of thing, do you want the policeman? They're even saying that they're going to prosecute the policemen who arrested these children. Sure. Do you want a policeman to now see those riots and then go and stand in front of them? Shouldn't the policeman remove his dress and walk away? These are the things we don't know. It might be for political or whatever reasons where President Tinubu is doing that. But you see, a time has come for us to put a stop to some of those things, to stand, because this might come back to haunt us in a different distance.
Dr. Nkom, before I come back to ask your view or your what you would have suggested to be done, or the right thing to have handled the case, let me hear from Mr. Solu. As the president of Rights and Freedom Advocates, what's your take on the developments?
Thank you very much, ma. My take on development in Nigeria generally is I will take a different perspective from Dr. Nkom.
Okay, please go ahead.
As far as I'm concerned, I deal with rights and freedom of the people.
Obviously.
Therefore, I will look at it from the point of law.
Okay.
These people were arrested since August. The Constitution says if you arrest somebody, you should charge him to court as soon as possible. This is November that they now brought those people to court.
And when the law says as soon as possible, how definite is the soon as possible?
Before the law was amended, it was within 24 hours.
Okay.
But after that 24 hours, the law has been amended to remove that 24 hours to as soon
as possible.
However,
Okay.
that as soon as possible is not a function of how pragmatic
The case is.
the case is and the affected agencies takes to action. Now, being as it may, the children, when you look at Child Rights Act 2003, right from chapter 2, section 2 of that law, it says that every child shall have right
Mm.
to good care, protection from parents, guardians, institutions, and so on and so forth. In that wise, if we as a society we have taken good care of our children, there are some things that we will have put them through to be done. They will have been able to identify the right and the wrong,
Okay.
so that when the right is being done, they will be able to identify with it. When the wrong is being done, they will run away. Now, we have these two issues here now. One is taking part in riots, and another one is destruction of another people's property.
Mm. Okay.
Where somebody's rights stop is where another people's rights begins from. Now, those people who are arrested were not arrested for being rioters. They were arrested for destroying another people's property. However, as it may, the only fault that I perceive in this situation is the treatment they were subjected to. If
Okay.
you look at Anti-Torture Act 2017, starting from chapter 3,
Okay.
it says that everybody shall not be subjected to physical, emotional, and psychological torture. It now defines that psychological torture as anything that is done to destabilize somebody, that makes him reasoning differently from what he would have done if in a stable condition, a stable state of mind. Now, for those people, if you look at the way they look at, you discover that they were malnourished severely. Most of them were they were just looking shattered. They were not properly dressed. If you look at their neck, you will be seeing bones in some of them, meaning that they were so. Meanwhile, if you look at Police Act 2020, specifically, if you look at from section 30 to 38, although section 38 gave police some right to arrest without warrants, that doesn't give them the right to ignore what the law says. I think in section 34 or 35, that whenever police arrest anybody, they are supposed to inform that person of his right to be protected under the law. If those people were protected adequately, I think they would have been fed appropriately, and the condition leading to their precarious situation would not have been so pathetic as it were when they were taken to court last week. And that was what drew the attention of the public.
Right.
Because the condition of those people were so sorry that every right-thinking human being we know that these people were not put in proper condition. If it is abroad, if you see some prisoners, they bring them to court, you see how fresh they are. That doesn't, if somebody is guilty of an offense, that doesn't mean that the same person who charged another person to be guilty of an offense will be made to be guilty of another offense too. Because that's what I'm seeing in this case now. Those people arrested were guilty of an offense, and another people who arrested them were guilty of Anti-Torture Act provisions by subjecting to these people to both physical and psychological trauma. In this case, both of the two parties are now culpable indeed.
So what would you have suggested to be the right or proper way to have handled them?
Okay.
Because some challenged, when you talked about the way they looked,
Yes.
some challenged how were they also brought into detention in the first place? In comparison to how they now looked when they were in court.
That's where the problem now lies. When they were arrested initially, they were not presented to the public for view. I didn't think they were presented to public. We will have been able to analyze it. Okay, what was their condition at the point of detention and arrest, and what is their current condition? We'll be able to see if there is any much difference. Okay, their condition was not But ideally, what I would have said that since the law is there that okay, once you arrest somebody, you should arraign him. Why did it take the police so long?
That long, okay.
From August, September, October to November. So that is part of injustice in the system. Ideally, if the system is working, the police officers too are culpable too, and they should be charged according to the law. Because the law ideally, if you look at chapter that Nigeria Police Act 2020, it says every month the police authority are to report all the arrests and human rights record or
of
human rights abuse
that
happened in their station. They should report to the Attorney General of the state. If it is at the federal, they should report to the Attorney General of the federation. It means that the police too, they are failed in complying with the laws. So if those people that carried out flights of other foreign countries and they are destroying another property, the police too, they are failed because by the end of August, I think they have been doing their work. They will have reported to Attorney General. Attorney General will have advised them accordingly on what they should do. Director of Public Prosecution is there. If Attorney General is not having time, he can refer to the case to DPP, and DPP will have given the appropriate advice. In that way, they did not. So the police too, they are reneging on what the laws ask them to be doing. It means that the police at the every stations, they need to be complying with the law.
With the law.
So,
okay. Dr. Oncom, before I come back to Dr. Oncom raised an issue on the amnesty they were given. That this could encourage, and then they were even received at the villa in Abuja. Now, what's your take on that? Don't you see that as a green card to other people, to children, or even anybody, to say, oh, I mean, they treated them like, gave them presidential treatment, so why not do the same?
Yes. I think, to be sincere and frank with you, the current president is the current administration is the most disastrous in Nigeria since I've been watching the